Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. We probably got enough. We could try. All right, so API backend for this will stop to work in a week or two. I need to switch this. So I've been working on the lambda backend for it, but that can actually do the app access tokens with secret. And I think I still have to, at the very least, switch that to some form of cores. Oh, hmm. Although I could I might be able to like cloud front it. I will probably have it hit the API for a little bit, and I'll eventually want to set up a CloudFront cache just to cache the API calls. I also have to research what the Dikaruka, how's it going? I also have to research what the actual API gateway cache does. I mean, maybe it's just sort of a miniature CloudFront. It's kind of the same thing. We've got something there. We could possibly hook it up and start doing some of the front end conversion, and I might still want to rewrite the back end. All right, so I'm going to get that address. I'm going to have to log in. All right, so we were in API Gateway. Well, hopefully that's actually it. Okay, videos, get user ID. I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with this for some of the calls that also want to do the username ID resolution. But I think this was actually published. Yeah, okay, so you don't have anything. And actually, I should have already resolved this. Okay, so it had to do the token lookup there, which I presume that's what everything was going on. So for testing purposes, we'll do that. So this is going to be a completely separate. Well, it's going to maybe use. Right now, I'm just passing through some stuff, so I don't have to do all the fancy decoding in the lambda function. If I end up switching Elm over there, it'd be easier to port some of that code. I'm not going to have a decoder for this right off. All right, and this is actually going to be breaking change. That will kind of drop in. All right, so this is not going to be, well, oh, you're still using the old Twitch API stuff because you're still auth nothing. I should probably just replace this call because I don't need to send these headers. I don't have that library here. That is good. That the internals of that are going to be roughly what we need to send. Elm Twitch API. Surely I had that hooked up here. I see what option I picked. Thanks, Windows, for crashing on me. Okay, headers, I think are just nothing. URL was an argument. Tagger is going to be that. Decoder is going to be, well, actually, it's not going to be that. Actually, there might be an Elm shorthand for this. That's just like http.get. Don't have to do any fancy header stuff. This form does expend better if you do need to do something. Yeah, so we could shorthand this. All right, and then this one doesn't care about client ID. Nor does it depend on authorized at all. Well, channel ID. That. All right, now we're going to get a decoder error. Well, and a CORS error. Cross origin request blocked. So that'll be our first problem. Okay, get options. is on. Oh, then these are extra headers that are allowed. I mean, I don't actually know that I care about these, but good luck finding them again if I do need them. Create options method. Lock integration to options, 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 options. Get. So that just kind of did the work of setting up options for me. Oh, that wasn't allow star. Well, we'll get that to work. All right, now. Okay, so there's some propagation delay there. And actually, I found that when I was just kind of testing stuff before. Uh, I can start writing the decoder, which I'm gonna kind of still depend on the Twitch package because I've got some of the string decoder stuff in there. So we're going to want Helix decode. This is, right now, it's just the videos. So we're going to have a, did I pull created at or published at? Created at. Presumably that's what I use here. Yeah. This is scheduled from videos. What have we got? Directory. We've got Twitch. This isn't quite Twitch. That's on Twitch API. We've got persist. Actually, this might be something I want to rework too. Wait, that's following videos. Right, config view. So I guess you just have your own decode. Which is going to, yes, we'll have videos. We will have a response that may include videos. I guess event would actually be a better name for the API method. Type alias. So what are we gonna need? Gonna need... Oh. Yeah, you've got my duration parser. We need a bunch of stuff. We need JSON to code. What do we use you for? Wait. Why am I... Did I never remove this from here after extracting it? That's the one I've been using. Did I never actually remove it? After all the testing on this one? Oh no, twitch.parse is here. This runs the advanced parser and then decides what to do with it. And then also I need timestamp. I need basic JSON to code. We're going to need that to run the parser. We're going to need that for the timestamp and that for the time. What did we expose from here before? We did video and videos. And we had a sample. Testing purposes. I mean, maybe this should actually be events because that's really all it is. ISO, time for the POSIX, that to run this duration. It's that's timestamp. And let's translate it to JSON decoder stuff. Import Twitch. The library, but it's kind of my library. Maybe I should kind of move that down. Actually, we're gonna start losing the need for this as we implement here. This does not directly expose anything. Wait, that decodes it as... What do you do then? You just take a... Okay, your helix dot... It must have been case. Need a code.video. And then you just pull out these two fields. It says don't have a video type field. It probably wasn't in the source directory. Yep. Oh, that's ended up as JavaScript, so Elm wasn't going to care. Twitch.parse. Was this on an older version that had not fully extracted that? Ah, 3, that could have been. Missing fields to follow type. Leaderboard Kraken. I mean, that might have just been an update there. Or did I not expose that module? If I didn't, that's actually. Does this helix to code expose duration? No. Well, this isn't actually going to be used. Duration? Really? Parsing an int, okay. That might have been used. It wasn't used here. Not even used there. Maybe it was for the test? Yeah, that was basically just for the test. Expose this or do we copy it? Well, it would be the only thing we need from this library. I don't know that's enough for a true library in and of itself. So we've got that duration, which comes out to this, which makes a JSON decoder duration. No. Needing everything at its source. So we have duration dot duration. Duration parser. First, that would no longer pass the test suite to the other one. And then what if we also went here? That would require us to import so this was an environment where we're like doing really decoding. Parser.run. Well, now this is just parser. Parse.deadend. Import duration. And then we say duration is a decoder int. And that is a fully local module. We needed this only because of that. We still deal with POSIX, we still deal with this, we still deal with general decoding. Actually, all of my fields are custom types. I don't do as much of the regular JSON decoding. Oh. Isn't that silly? Missed a fail. I missed a period. Oh. This is just here. Okay. Right. All. What are the chorus headers? That's request headers, that's response headers. Access control allow origin. I might have to add method. Oh, that's a get. Right, because this is a direct, so it's not a JavaScript thing anyway. Okay, it passed the options, it made the request. Oh no, this is the user lookup. Oh, this is API.twitch, API.twitch. Okay, there. Oh, I did call it events. Now the call is for videos, and I'm returning event. So that is a little weird. Yeah, because this is from there. And then schedule from videos is returning on videos, even though okay, whatever. When we make this call, did that not do it? Oh, I probably need to decode dot video. Okay. That one switched. We still have the username lookup, which we then eventually want to put into one call. What I have to figure out is if I want to do separate endpoints, so I want to like parameters for user lookup. Kind of a different response. I did just do a separate, well, there's kind of two API calls. There's username lookup and there is name lookup. Both of them are only used in this version of the web version of the app. Maybe I actually have different stages with different functions. I could arrange the URL translation, give different event requests. So that actually it was different resources, but it was handled by the same function. That complicates the internal event logic of the hand. I've got fetch videos. One is fetch videos and another is fetch then videos. Hmm. And then that will then be its own custom user decoder because it's going in a limited version of it. Sad thing is, if this had only ever stayed as a limited version of the decoder, it would have not really cared about all the other fields. Well, it still had the video type filter. We still need the Helix decode for the user and the sends for that. What do we do with the web page version? I've also got the backend address in there right now. I eventually need to switch that over to like a production endpoint, but we're working stuff out right now. So that does some front ends. I either need to copy that to a different result, or, well, I've been kind of toying with the idea of rewriting the lambda function in Elm. That's going to add a lot of setup because we're going to have to do either combine files or ship multiple files. That might give me a better model for dealing with chains of requests. Oh, doing chains of requests, I need to manage state. Well, I guess I could manage state in the messages versus managing it in the model. But either that or it's going to be a royal mess of callbacks. Start trying to do, well, even adding steps to the callbacks we've got is getting kind of hairy. I guess would kind of be like converting the JavaScript thing to a state machine, a bunch of callbacks. Do we want so much of the same stuff? It seems a shame to copy a lambda function. I don't think I could read the same code base for multiple actual functions. I could format different events though. Then decide how I want to map that to URLs. So right now we've got a nice cacheable goes for yes rest wise. The different response it should, and if it's username lookup versus video lookup, that would be yet another call. I could leave name to ID lookup as a separate call. You only need to do that when you effectively URL, then it could get user and videos. That would just be, it'll be multiple round trip. Oh, you know what? One reason to keep it in the same function is then all the calls will be able to instant, hopefully. A bunch of different calls is going to be a bunch of different lambda functions. All have to fetch and get their own. And if we're going to have multiple different calls and returns, and which makes it less of a, almost turns lambda into a server instead of a lambda function. But otherwise, I'd have to work out some way to have them share access to. Okay. So this would be an entirely different LMAP. I don't think. Actually, I don't think we need browser. Or HTML. Is there... So something as an indirect definition on time. URL maybe, but then it would be a direct dependency. Let's compile it first. It still has to be... Does it need a main if you do a worker? Platform.worker needs an update subscriptions. elm.lambda.init. Browser module to get that kind of program instead. I probably still need a main, and then lambda.init inits that thing. Init is a function of nothing to and none. Update is a function of messages an undefined type. No, and a model. No, yeah, this is input. This is not. You can use unit if there's like an argument. It doesn't matter. And subscriptions. Oh, these are types. I need is a function of model to sub dot none. Should this have a source directory also? Perhaps it should. Oh, and this went to the wrong place anyway, because I wasn't watching my directories. Oh, it made a source directory. I guess I could do a lambda monitor. That way I wouldn't have to have a bin in there, even though it's kind of its own project. It does need to be in that directory. It's not going to be public. I don't currently have a lambda.js. Right. Actually, does this shell let me? I didn't put this in bin, did I? Keep doing that. So that's why this couldn't find it. Maybe not. Because I went up to here. Oh, lambda source. That's what I want to see. Do I have to do parentheses here? Argument is a record of type. But worker needs the first. Oh, no, that's going to say it's a pair. Oh, maybe you're just space? That's how it looks normally. Worker needs it to be flags model. Descriptions model. Message model. It says it's unit B command message. A to sub message. Flags to model. Uh, maybe I could do unit. So update is giving us the right kind of signature. Arrow. This is one, message two. I mean, they're all nuns, which should be perfectly valid. The point of the nuns. I mean, I wanted to avoid doing this, but we can do it just to try and force better errors. We don't want flags. No, what we might not have is an actual message type. I forget how this works. Do we say unit and then don't care? Actually, let's just see how that one works. Right. So how do I describe record of none? So it's still saying that doesn't work. Oh. Well, that helped it a little bit. It's plural subscriptions, apparently. We're gonna want to break that eventually, but yeah. Okay, so that was one problem. Oh, but now it is actually saying needs the first argument to be. So init matches. Oh, does that mean we actually have to do this? Subscriptions is the model. The model is not unit. Now I'm wondering, the model was unit. Maybe I just didn't quite do it everywhere. I guess this one like type annotation helped narrow it down a little bit. Yeah, okay, so that works. So what we can do is we do type alias model is unit, type alias message is unit, and then we've got a place to do those. Oh, but these still need instances. Yeah, so those would be type names or arguments. Actually, does that mean we can do... And then you would be, init is flags, which is something else. You're a type model, but then we still have to do this as an instance. It's a value. Alright, so that still works. Everything has to match. Update is a message model to model command message. Okay, too many equal signs. Subscriptions. Okay, so that's correctly typed. However, in order to do anything with it, we're going to need ports. I normally like to do ports as separate modules. I guess we're still only going to get one output file. But you're just going to be like, well, no, it's not going to be. There's going to be a couple of things you have to cross. They have to have request receipt, event handler, or whatever, then externally. We're going to have an HTTP request. We're going to have to make it probably do the decryption and put in the values as part of the init. So you now they originally, I guess what I have to do is I have to test this first to see if it is possible to do this stuff. Well, these are both async operations. They do have short circuits. I don't know if they're going to be fast enough. Now, did I have to pass something to you? No, although we did have, well, it did have some error provisions for errors there. But So we might get a handler request before we've done encrypting our environment variables. Decrypting our environment variables. And it's not actually going to run this code here. We just got environment variables. We're not going to see any error messages from this. Now, I don't remember if Lambda even make it console log stuff. Now, one unfortunate thing about Lambda is that I don't think there's any like concept of stages in Lambda. So if you modify this, it's just changed. You probably need to have like, really you will need some way to like copy it and have like dev versions for once you're actually using it. Error message. Task timed out. Okay, so that's the test event. So was that specifically due to this change? It was. Or maybe I didn't save in here? Okay. So yes, you cannot decrypt these things before the first handler comes in. Uh, Now, do we start up Elm and then give it a event? And then have it say, okay, decrypt this, decrypt this. Or does our event handler continue to do this kind of thing before even forwarding it to Elm? I'm going to have to port HTTP anyway. So the client ID. So this part. Going to be sending a port for HTTP anyway. So we could be modifying the headers before we send. Means you would never even have those things in. Or if I'm decoding them before, you pass them in. On flags, it means you'd actually have to create the app the first time through. It's weird that just time. Oh. Okay. They actually did manage where is so kinda yeah. I don't know that that would cause a did not return though. Or task timed out. It basically has to do some console tracing to figure out what the heck happened there. It seems like we have to do this after the handler gets called. Do I really gain anything by having process that stuff? It can handle the predependency. But it's going to be a fully asynchronous callback to decrypt it. Yep. Asynchronous. Okay, asynchronous. Well, there's asynchronous, and then there's concurrent. You ever do the same container. Invoke the function again while the first event is being processed and initializes another instance. Okay. So in theory, one model could actually work for this. Or you could use the model to store intermediate state of the current request in process. But some of the async stuff is going to get hairy here. I can't necessarily do these things as flags. If we're doing it locally, this is going to be hard to test. We'll get these, and then those could possibly go in as flags. And then if they're not there, we're going to have to request decryption of those. Those are the same script process. I think I could technically pass env to the flags, but I know Elm tries to do some auto conversion on stuff. Maybe that's only if there's a type signal. Still, I don't know if I want to mess with. I'd rather have it rampaging through env to try and convert things. Maybe if there's an explicit type, it'd be interesting strategy. Okay. Actually, that probably should be a fairly low end thing. So I've got you. Not using Reactor at the moment. So right now I don't actually need to send a request. See, this isn't even exposed here, so this isn't necessary anymore. Net find module lambda. Oh, that's right. Dot. Okay, so it ran the code. Elm is not defined. Perhaps gets returned in this environment. Cannot read property init of undefined. Elm lambda init. Lambda init function. What the heck? We didn't print anything that time. Oh, we copied this from the error message. What? We already printed that. No, it's an object with elm in it. Okay, so that didn't really do anything. We're gonna have an ends decoder. And now I actually do have to import packages. Oh, before I do this. Everything's fine. Okay, it's fine without that. So we're going to end up with a direct dependency on Elm JSON. Do a proper decoding of that. I don't know about time. I know we're not going to need virtual DOM. Well, if we need it, it's going to be should be a direct dependency. Okay. Now URL might be end up being a direct dependency too. All right. So we want lambda source. Env. And I just like to do these separate modules so that when we import JSON.decode, we can expose everything and have really easy access to stuff. Although we're not going to need a whole lot for this. env is a coder. Of a client ID. Oh, all of these variables might not be present. In fact, this is going to be a whole lot of maybes. Well, these are flags from outside. Actually, this should really be one of two things. I could do this as plain string. That's going to make accessing it a little awkward. Since we have to decrypt them one by one. Ooh, yeah, so for input, that would be correct. We have to decrypt them one by one. You have to have the, unless we set it up, pass both things over to, does all the ace juggling. Get them both at once. Well, that's a question of the model. Fortunately, the model starts looking equally ugly. Well, can you have two you could take the encrypted values. Well, oh, this isn't going to be env. No env. It's not just the encryption that has to. When we get a request, blah, 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 blah. Because we're either going to have the plain strings or we're going to have the encrypted string. The way we're configuring things. Ends up being a little bit different for this style. That's a decoder of n, which should get us one of these two things. Then we've got Now, if I end up needing to pass in anything besides any non-key values as n, that could become awkward. So this is going to be one of. Plain end would be. Huh? Is it object? Maybe just map the constructor. Yeah, I think just map the constructor. Okay. Then you need. Need at least that. I might want to talk about these. We're gonna have to import. So we can use that. There's no room for a decoder here. I see. I can't just print this. I guess what I could do is swap the end for a little. Edit. Oh, that's right. I was actually going to come up blank right now because I forgot to use Foreman for that. So then, debug.log as it's a little bit too much env. This needs to be compiling. Oh. What'd we do wrong? Oh, right, this has to be a list of... Apollo GraphQL! Hello! How's it going? I'm almost wishing I had something like GraphQL for this, but it's kind of too small an application to set it up for myself. Sounds like maybe you were working on some GraphQL? Or is that just the thing you do most of the time? Is that a map? No. Oh, because it has to be map 2, duh. Yeah, I haven't had a need to get into it yet. I know Twitch uses it internally for stuff, but it's not part of the public API. And for the level of things I'm working on, it usually seems like a lot of sort of overhead to get to a nice point for doing more complex things. Clothing parentheses. Oh, yeah, how about we have a function call? Yeah, actually have a thing right now where I have like 3 very similar API calls. One of them is a list of data, one of them is a list of data and the username, the other is we knew the username and not the user ID, and we still need we need the ID and the data. So that kind of thing, ask for what you want might be kind of nice, but it's a pretty small application, so I don't know if that's something like that would be necessarily worth it. I was doing maybes on these, but the plan is to have these work or not work. It's not a function. Oh, right, we have to do all the JSON decode dance. Maybe that's where we just do like a, for this limited scale application. And so let's return a result. Or this thing itself has to be a maybe type. So what specifically were you working on today? Oh, right, you said you were talking about the latest news. Okay. So Apollo GraphQL. So are you a fan of GraphQL? Is Apollo a particular library? Is it normally just a news channel? So what? You're going to get a value. We can take care of some of the function calls we still have to deal with being a result. Company that builds tools for people. Okay. Yeah, I know that people keep saying you should specialize. I'm never been able to pick something I want to specialize in. Okay, so it's an implementation and you do custom versions of it. Or you just kind of do the library and then that's the tool. Paid play. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Uh-huh. Enterprise stuff gets pretty complicated. Have to get over to JSON here. Huh. An example. I was working on a thing one time that tried to convert death statistics into a simulation of what's happening right now to kind of convert those numbers into something where more believable or more, can't think of the right word, more immediate, I guess. So if we do a decode string, well, then I don't know if I've got around to publishing that one. I still need to redo my website. Yeah, it's pure functional, compiled to JavaScript. It's taking an extremely slow and measured course of development, so sometimes there's things that you just can't do. Well, there's ports, but they're not always convenient. I'm going to have to. This project will need some of those later. We'll see if we get there today. Must be near the top. Decoder string. Decode a string. That's where is be in the middle somewhere. Run decoders. So you're going to be this is going to be a JSON error, which we have locally. The worst dev. And it's going to return an env. That's going to get the value. It's going to actually no, it's going to be code value. This is really just going to supply the decoder. But I think that will save us from having to import the JSON decode package to run this function. And actually, we could shorthand this. And get rid of quite so many ends all over the place. Maybe I should set this up to auto run. Presumably I just repointed this at test. No, start lambda. Expecting an object. Okay. It's probably going to call that in internals if I try to print it, isn't it? Twitch made their API require authentication. I am doing an extension that lets people put schedules on their Twitch panels. This is the web version I did first, which means it has to work with any anonymous viewer. You can't have a panel asking somebody to log in so you can get to the API. And I do have it working with just JavaScript, but I need to do all those variations of things, and that's going to be a lot of asynchronous requests. And I would prefer to manage this way, although it's this is one of those things that's not strictly required or makes economic sense. But I'm curious to see what Elm in a Lambda looks like. There's a app level key, but you have to also have the secret to get the key, and you have to get it every time the Lambda container starts up. All right, did we run this again? Yep, internals. So I don't know if that's getting passed through correctly, and I have no way to find out. Because it's a JSON decode value. I might have to Oop, that's the compiled version. I might have to like pull the env out into an object and then decode that. And this might not be a thing that's normally decodable. I think decode is just using ordinary JavaScript access under the hood. But I don't know that. So it might be that it just doesn't work with, well, all right, I have to reformat with at least one of these to see if this works. Actually, we've already got this. And that was the JavaScript. Well, right now we switched over to print internals. Don't have an undo here. Did I miss the compile? What's an object with ID internals or ID encrypted? Okay, so now it's a plain JavaScript object. So I've done something wrong here. And it's really frustrating that I can't look at it. Code value, coder, value, result. Of course, if I'm doing this, I could reformat into an object that Elm could sort of auto-convert. Oh, Elm's interface changed recently. In 0.19, I haven't used it much yet. These init functions can have stock values. So you have to explicitly specify flags. For some of the things, it's like if it's a browser element, it's the element that goes there. Okay, now can we do that? Yes, we can. So, Our model could be the end. For the time being. Although that would mean we'd have to be able to do something if this decode failed. Even though this application just can't start if we don't have our keys. Well, no, actually there is. Well, it's only a debug thing, technically. Okay. Debug.todo. Which technically can't do production compiles. I haven't found that you actually gain a whole lot by doing production compiles. And you then lose debug.log. So you are going to be either a... Okay. And we now have to specify that our model is a... env.env. Might get awkward, but I think we'll eventually replace that. Or it's going to be a JSON decode error. And... well, it's like if there's an error, I'd want to see it. That's the only way. String of... okay, let's debug toString. I was expecting to see the of key. Oh. Yep, case of, not case in. Okay, that compiles. Now, if we did get an encrypted, I think we still have to wait. We may have to wait for our first event. And the decryption can only be tested on Amazon anyway. Yeah, there's probably some way I could set up some sort of AWS key, but that's a whole thing to set up. Yeah, goodbye. I mean, I'm gonna want to head off sometime soon here myself. Actually, have I done any commits on this? No, I've done none. So this is possibly a good place to break here. Well, definitely a good place to commit. I've probably done too much. So I'm actually in Lambda now. No, and then we need that, and git ignore. Maybe it's come up with a different name for that, but that's the direct translation of the module name. Well, starting an Elm module. Yeah, because the next thing is going to have to be some kind of port setup. Which probably works as like a unit of work. Start thinking about all of that interface stuff. We're going to need a method to decrypt. And then we'll have a port for decryption results, which unless I do specific ports, it's going to have to be identified by string what you were decrypting. And one disadvantage of having that going back and forth is if you ever print out messages. Maybe I don't want to handle those as part of the key part of the model. Because it would mean it wouldn't be safe to be printing out messages as I work. Or I'd have to do a I'd have to do a custom message print function instead of the debug log. Had to be able to format everything in order to be able to protect that one type. Well, wonder if opaque types. Those wouldn't be going across the message boundary, however. They would still be strings if you were doing a port to convert them. Hmm. Yeah, a whole lot of awkward questions. Well, that's all ports. That's also env handling. All right. So we did that. Passing env. Well, we'll have can't print model with key model. Can't print message with encrypted message. So secret handling, well, the ones in model could probably be handled with opaque. I know that people have talked about kind of using that to protect like social security numbers and stuff. Now, I don't know if that applies to debug tools or if that's only for like if you're printing it out to a log or something. But you could only pass strings over the ports. Well, we saw that JSON values show up as internals if you print them directly. So if you passed it as a JSON value, we could do some testing with that. All the extra runaround for doing code on stream. And I can actually do a lot of this with just the dummy values I've got in there now, but at some point we're going to want to test actual API calls. And then we're going to have to go into API gateway, or no, lambda functions, and see if, and I still have to figure out how I want to deploy this. Do I want to do an extra file that I paste into here? Do I actually want to start dealing with zip files? A little bit of a pain to with the lambda environment. Especially as I start getting into multi-file stuff. I'm gonna compile down to one, but then I have 2 files at least. Unless I do something to concat them, and then that's processing. Anyway, this is more than I want to deal with right now. Right now, I'm done with coding. I am going to come back and do some Step Mania. Anybody just wants to hang out. Yeah. Thanks to Apollo for bringing some friends. I don't necessarily expect anybody who was here for coding to hang out, but so thanks for hanging out. I am actually going to, drop the stream a little bit to change settings, and then come back and do Step Mania for a bit. And yeah, if you want to hang out, I'll still be here. Bye.